Hey guys, what I'd like to show you today is a couple of things. One on how to fix this clipping plane problem. And then make it look like this. But first, let's talk about the clipping plane problem. Easy way to fix that now is if you have a nested comp, which we do here. I have a regular shot of just the object in a comp all by itself, and then I brought it as a composite shot layer in a new comp and made the camera follow a target. I'll show you how to do that here in a little bit. But we had that clipping plane problem in the previous version of Hitfilm. Now with version 10, that is fixed. Well, you're looking at this and go, well, no, it's not. Well, here's how you fix that. You go to that original composite shot and make that original object 3D unrolled there as well. Do that, go back over to where your comp was, where you're having the clipping problem, and it's gone. All right. Thanks, Hitfilm. Appreciate that. Now let's go look at what we can do to make the object even more interesting. Well, what we want to do is be able to light this object. That way, we only have to set it up once. We can read it in forever and ever and ever. It's already lit up and ready to go as a composite shot, and we just drag it into our next animation. So let's do that. Let's start out with, we'll just say a new file. I'll say start compositing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to import a composite shot. Now I'll show you how to do that here in a second. So let's load this composite shot and go back to the camera layer, and we'll kind of rotate this up a little bit. Now all of a sudden we've got a more of a lifelike looking image. This is all lit up. We've got lights for the running lights up here. We've got a light for the photon torpedo tubes. I've got some glow going on for the engines. And also in the back here for the impulse drive, whatever you want to call it. All right, so that looks pretty good. Well, that again would be easy to animate. Wouldn't be any problem the way it is now. But notice you've got all of these lights and all of this stuff. So if you want 5 of these, you're going to have to duplicate all of this. But once you've got your basic composite shot set with all the lights in it, all you got to do is go over to Media, right-click on that composite shot, which is called D7 base in this particular file, and just go Save As. And I could go ahead and save that out as D7 base 3. And in fact, I would recommend that you do that if you are making adjustments to your file and you want to make sure that you didn't write over any previous versions. Increment the version number and write out another file. That's what you should do all the time when you're animating. Never write over the old file. Always keep your previous work. Okay, so what's the point of this? Well, we'll just go ahead and say we're going to create a new composite shot, and we'll just call that Move. We want to bring in that D7 base comp shot. I messed around with the camera, so let's go back over there and fix that up. So go back to the D7 base and find my camera, and I'm just going to say right-click on that and say Reset. All right, so let's go on to our Move composite shot. Okay, so everything's right where it needs to be. Add a new layer, add a point, and I'm going to call that Mover. Add another point. Call that Target. Hit F2, Target. Okay, so we're going to parent the ship to the mover and parent the target to the mover. It would help if I could spell. So we can go into the composite shot properties and go to transform. We want that to be 3D unrolled. Yep, we're going to turn on a camera. We're going to rotate this in Y, about 90 degrees. Okay, Again, don't have to save a keyframe there. If you're just making one setting, you don't have to save a keyframe, it'll stay right there. I'm going to scale the object down just a little bit so it kind of fills the frame. And then I'm going to go to the mover and make it a 3D plane, also the same thing for the target. Okay, mover is right there at the center of mass, or center of screen. This happens to be that. Target, again, let's move it to where it's right over the little bulge there that we call the bridge or whatever it might be. So here's our mover point. That's what's going to move everything around, but here's our target. That's for the camera. Okay, what we're going to do is set up a little move here. So we're going to move the mover object, which is basically going to move the ship. So there's a couple ways you can do this. You can go up to transform and you can set up the keyframes up here. We can also do it down here with the position and the value graph. So let's just do that. So let's slide the mover back this way and we're going to create a keyframe. Now you can hit the position button there, or you can hit this little button up here to create a keyframe. Now, what's our problem? We made it in the wrong place. Oh, no problem. I can just highlight that, delete it. Alright, so we're back with the cursor at the front on the first keyframe. We don't have to worry about the position. It's still back where it was because we deleted that keyframe. Alright, let's create another keyframe right here. Alright, and then we're going to slide the slider down to the end of the timeline, and then just slide our object back to the other side and let go. And sure enough, it made a keyframe there automatically. So as soon as you make that first keyframe, anything you do and moving stuff down the timeline, it'll create another keyframe when you let go. Alright, so now when we play it back, let's move on to the next thing. Alright, so what we want the camera to do, I'm going to move this to about the center of the screen here. So we want the camera to follow the target. Okay, so here's our target. Go back up here to camera, go to layer properties, and we want to set the alignment towards layer. And the alignment layer is going to be the target. Okay, and with the composite shot set it at 3D unrolled, we can move the slider around. It's pointing directly at that target as it moves by. What I want to do is move the camera so it's a little closer to the bridge. So all we've got to do is go to transform properties for the camera itself, and its default position is 001866.6. What we're going to do is take that 1866.6 and Z and move it in. Alright, so when you do that, you see that it actually starts to kind of create its own animation, which is kind of the whole point of this, right? Alright, so I kind of like that. I'm also going to move the camera up in Y and lose the ground plane, move it in maybe a little more. Okay, now when we slide back and forth, we see that, yep, sure enough, it follows that, and everything looks great. Let's fix this clipping plane problem. So notice we are at 3D unrolled right here for the composite shot. Alright, so if we go back to our D7 based composite shot, everything's nice, lit up, it's great. But what the problem is our original object in that original composite shot with all the lights and everything is still a 2D layer. So you want to set that to 3D unrolled. And now, when you go back to your move composite shot, it's awesome. It does not get clipped anymore. So here's our nice wicked flyby. Alright, so looks pretty good. But how do we fix the lights? Simple. Go to the composite shot layer in your nested comp here. Go to controls and then go to layer properties and this little magic box, promote lights. Voila! All the lights you had in that other comp shot now come through. let's say we want to add some more objects. Again, you don't want to have to put the objects in, add all the lights, whatever. It's already pre-built in that Comp Shot. So probably the easiest thing to do is just right-click on the D7 base Composite Shot layer and say Duplicate. Okay, so now we've got a second one. It's already parented to the mover. It already inherited all the positioning of the original, so we don't have to do anything but just move it up and out of the way. All right, and move that over a little bit. And let's go ahead and go to the transform properties for that one. And we want to reposition it in X. I think we want to, let's put him behind, over to the side a little more. Okay, so now we've got two ships and they go by. Go ahead and duplicate that, the original again. So now we've got D base 2, D base 3. 3 is the next one we just made. So we can slide him down. Now notice what happened. Everything keeps getting brighter. Let's go ahead and put him back to a different position. Let's move him back, and in fact we can move him forward if we wanted, but I'm going to go ahead and move him back behind a little ways, up to the top, maybe over a little bit. Okay, and maybe kind of move him up kind of like that. Okay, so let's figure out how to get rid of that extra brightness. Well, what basically happened is we have promote lights on for that original D7 base comp, and we duplicated it. So what we wind up doing, we wound up duplicating lights. So the easy thing to do is go to the new copies and go to their layer properties and turn off promote lights for those. And now we're back to our original lighting. But that should kind of get you started. The whole idea here is, let's go back to our D7 base, and I'll go ahead and move the camera around a little bit, is lighting this sucker. And once you have all that lit up, in fact, let's look at the lights here real quick. If we go into perspective mode, you can see like the lights in the back for the impulse engines. That's like the port impulse. We'll click on that. And I'm going to zoom out here a little bit and rotate the perspective around a little bit and kind of show you a little bit about the lights real quick. If we go to port impulse controls for the light, obviously the light color is red. But the one I wanted to show you here is reach. So if you set the reach higher, see what happens? It lit up the front of the ship. So I had reach, hit Control Z, back down there at 96 pixels. And you kind of get the idea of setting up these lights. But the whole point is you could spend hours and hours and hours just setting up this one light set. You don't want to have to do that every time you want to bring another object in. And again, the whole point of this is once you get it the way that you want it, you go up here to Media, right-click on it, and Save as a Composite Shot. I want that to be 4. Increment your work, don't write over the same file. So hopefully that kind of helps you there a little bit, and you kind of get the idea of what you can do with this. The advantage also is since those are already in a composite shot, they're kind of pre-comped, so the computer doesn't have to recalculate them as heavily as if they had all the lights and everything in this comp. And plus, this makes your animation file so much lighter, so much easier to follow. You don't have layer on layer on layer on layer of the same thing, and it makes it easier to work with. So hopefully that helped you guys, and we'll talk to you later.